Oh man, so Algorand is down 89% from all-time highs. The CEO of Algorand has just stepped down, and you guys have been asking me for an urgent Algorand update. What am I doing with my position? Is it time to pull that plug and give up hope? This is one of those blockchains which has so much promise, yet has missed on so many key deliverables. Where do we stand on the Algorand project, and what are some of the key updates? We're going to go through the fundamentals, a bunch of new updates which I have to share with you. We're also going to listen to a soundbite from the CEO of the Algorand Foundation, Stacey Warden, plus we're going to look at the price targets on the chart as well. Guys, don't forget, smash up the like button and subscribe. If you still haven't got yourself set up onto a VPN, check out NordVPN. They've been kind enough to offer you guys an exclusive deal, and honestly guys, it's the most basic way for you to stay safe in crypto. If you're not doing this at the very least, and you have any kind of serious money in crypto, and you're not spending $2 or $3 a month on your VPN every time you're making a transaction, making sure you're doing so using your VPN, so you're masking your IP address. Honestly, I don't know what to suggest. I use one every single day, and I use NordVPN, the fastest one. Right, so before we come on to FIFA, which I'm going to come on to because we know they've got a huge partnership with FIFA, we've got to tackle the big issue in the room. And that is the fact that Stephen Kokinos, their CEO, decided to leave for other interests, right? For other opportunities. So we saw the tweet come out. Today, I want to share with the Algo fam that I'm transitioning out of my current role as an Algorand CEO to keep focus on the key projects in the Algorand ecosystem that will help scale adoption. This is very important, guys. He's not up and leaving. I know a lot of the uproar was around, oh, why is he leaving? He is moving to focus on the Algorand ecosystem to help focus on a few particular projects. And I think this is important. I think this is where Algorand's lacked a bit. I think Algorand as a blockchain, as a technology, is phenomenal. I think it does a great job. I think it's already a lot better than other layer 1 solutions which have more traction than it. But they need to focus on a few key use cases that can proliferate, that people can catch on to, that people can use, they can talk about, they can express. And that is where I've spoken at numerous lengths. I'll link up the Algorand videos as well around some of the marketing aspects and a few areas I think they've fallen short in terms of business development. Now, we have got an update in this video because they have noticed this and they have made a change as well. I was first introduced to the brilliance of Silver Macali's innovation in the cryptography and blockchain space back in 2017. He is a true visionary and will continue to be a leader in expanding Web3 movement. It's been an honor to help build the early stages of Algorand, millions of participants globally, hundreds of apps spanning music, art, finance, and national initiatives, greater than 1 million daily transactions with no downside. So excited the amazing Sean Ford will continue to lead as interim CEO. So Sean Ford, this chap here, will be leading as interim CEO until they find somebody else. Now this makes me a little bit worried, but again, maybe something's just happened in Stephen Kokinos' life or something happened to change. But when you normally go to an interim CEO, it means you got very little notice that the CEO was going to leave. So just an important piece from a corporate perspective, if you knew Steve was going to leave and you had plenty of notice, you would have brought in a permanent CEO to replace him and you would have had a few months to go find that person. So the fact that having to go interim normally means it was a last minute decision and something they've just found out recently. Algorand's technical roadmap and delivery, which make it one of the leading layer 1s, is under the excellent stewardship of the team and many across the ecosystem. The ecosystem growth is a testament to the hard work that has been put in since day one. I'm excited to see the foundation and Stacey Warden empowering developers, founders, and the next generation. I'm inspired for the future of Algorand. Great. So all positive things. He's still part of the network. This is not just a kind of, I'm out like Andre Cronje did at Phantom, right? That had much more of an uproar than something like this. So this is a better way of doing things if you are going to step aside. Also important to know that Algorand is different from Algorand the Foundation. Algorand the Foundation is what's promoting the blockchain, and that's where Stacey Warden comes in, ex-JP Morgan. She came in earlier this year, and we've covered that off on the channel as well. We'll come on to a soundbite of what she had to say. Now, we also had the news that John Woods, who was one of the chief architects over at Cardano, has jumped ships across to Algorand, which is interesting. John Woods, I'm thrilled to be taking the next step in my career and joining Algorand Foundation as CTO. I've had a wonderful time contributing to building Cardano at IOHK. We are all building the future. And it was great to see then Charles Hodgkinson quote reply, working with John while he was standing in for Duncan during his paternity leave was fun. I'm delighted to see John step up as a CTO, and it opens up many great great opportunities for future collaboration and research. Algorand is an excellent project with exceptional people, and this is really good to see coming from someone like Charles Hodgkinson. And it's interesting that it's Charles Hodgkinson saying that, because one, it opens up the future for potential collaboration between the blue two blockchains. They've now got somebody who was working as principal architect at Cardano moving across to CTO at Algorand, so naturally he'll find synergies and ways they can work together. But also, these are two blockchains which I bucket in the same category. These are two very excellent technically enabled blockchains with good academic base types people. They're not the strongest on biz dev, they're not the strongest on marketing and partnerships, but they're very solid in terms of projects. So it's no doubt that these are the two kinds of platforms that we'll want to be working together. Now, switching tracks a little bit, we then had Algorand appoint Eric Rage as global head of business development. This is important. This is an ex-JP Morgan director who is now coming across as a global head of business development. Now, why is this important? We know this is one of the areas that Algorand has been lacking. Again, great product, really sophisticated, great transaction speeds, great block finality, really good proof of stake, right? Sylvan McCarley, legendary founder, and really good from that side of things. But where is their biz dev? Where is their partnerships? Where is their marketing? It's good they've identified it and they're trying to make a change here. So look forward to seeing how this plays out over the next period of time. Then I have to switch tracks to say, okay, what happened with this? Because this was one of the things that irked me dating back to the 3 Hours Capital things a couple of weeks ago. Because Algorand, for some reason, got kind of embroiled in some of this mess. And it was the only real blockchain that somehow managed to get tarnished by this. Because the rest were all, the other tarnishings were mainly... there was, the likes of Celsius, Voyager, these are exchanges, lending platforms. But here, we found that Algorand was tied into this. So they tweeted, say, last September, the Algorand Foundation entered a one-off OTC, that's over-the-counter trade, with 3 Hours Capital. We have reason to believe 3AC violated the associated lockup term, and as such, we are seeking remuneration per the terms of the agreement. Okay, they said the Algorand Foundation never provided 3AC with unsecured loans or a line of credit. See our transparency report. Now, when you head into the transparency report, not to bore you, in essence, they went into a program to sell 76 million Algorand from the 500 million endowment. So you're talking about 15% of their endowment, and obviously this is where they're having the issue. Now, obviously this was on OTC, which is good. It shouldn't affect the price too much, but now they're having to seek damages from 3 Hours Capital, and who knows when they're going to get it and what impact that could have on the foundation. So definitely something that irked me a little bit, because they should not be getting themselves into this mess. No other blockchain got tarnished by this 3 Hour Capital issue. It fell onto the exchanges and the lending platforms, and for Algorand to get caught up in this mess just shows a little bit of corporate naivete in my point of view, and that's one of the things which is on my mind in terms of this blockchain. Next thing I want to look at is this, which is the pink line is the market cap here of Algorand, rebounding a little bit nicely here back to 2.28 billion in terms of market cap. But the red line is something which is stagnating / falling relative to the market cap, and that is the percentage of whales holding Algorand has notched down slightly. So it's sitting there at 43% now, and it's just something to be cognizant of, right? It's not growing nicely with the market cap, which is a little bit of a concern. Then moving forward, this was a really good piece of news, is Algorand managed to then give $10 million in funding to Applied Blockchain to go and build the London Bridge solution. So this is supposed to be a bridge across two EVM to allow dApp developers to make Algorand EVM compatible and allow those dApp developers to bridge across to the Algorand network. So it's good that finally they've accepted that Ethereum is where all the developers are at. It's where the ecosystems are being built. And if you can create EVM compatibility, similar to how Phantom did, you open the door for big inflows of DeFi and NFT projects, which clearly they've now suddenly identified and are funding the development of this bridge. So a little bit late, but at least they're doing it, and they're realizing and not being stubborn to the fact that no, people are just going to come to Algorand and build natively. They're not. Unfortunately, they're not. You don't have enough traction, and it's a smarter solution to either go down the layer 2 route or, in the case of Algorand, obviously become an EVM compatible blockchain and have a way for dApps to be ported across to your layer 1 solution. Okay, so that's another piece of news. Rattling through this, another thing to look at is Algorand's Formula E NFTs are now tackling climate change head on. So they've they've launched a bunch of helmet type NFTs. They look pretty cool, actually, in partnership with the Formula E electric race series. And again, why did I pick this up? Why have I put this in this update? It's just this kind of stuff that other blockchains do really, really well at. And I know in the great scheme of things, it's not going to change the world, but these are the things that, you know, the likes of Polygon, in terms of layer 2s, and the likes of other layer 1 solutions like Solana and these platforms, they do this kind of stuff well, and they do it regularly, which keeps them at the forefront of the news and keeps the attention on their blockchain. So good to see Algorand are starting to make waves in this. And another aspect they did that in is obviously partnering as the official, you guys would have heard this already, blockchain provider for FIFA, which will really enable them to become a household name. And I'm actually going to clip in here what Stacey Warden, the CEO of Algorand Foundation, had to say about how this partnership came about and why it's so important.
Last week at the Milken conference, Sylvia Macaulay, alongside of the head of FIFA, announced a deal where Algorand will be the official blockchain for FIFA. And so in your own words, Stacey, tell us about that. Tell us how that came together. Tell us why you think that's important. I personally think it will enable Algorand to become a household name, just in terms of market saturation. But tell us how that came about, and tell us what your thinking was there.
Yeah, it came
and congratulations, by the way. Congratulations as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. It came about in a typically Algorand way. So I think a lot of these sports stadiums things, they're run by the marketing department goes out and they spend a bunch of money and they get their name on a stadium, et cetera. And it was not that way with FIFA. The way it happened with FIFA is FIFA decided that there was blockchain potential for what they were trying to do. First of all, in the NFT space, NFT marketplace, maybe in ticketing and wallets, maybe in player trading, eventually, they understood. So they hired a consultant. And they said, look, we're a huge organization with a lot of, name recognition. We can't do this improperly. We can't do this wrong. We don't know very much about blockchain. Which blockchain should we pick? And this consultant spent a couple of months and came back to FIFA and said, Algorand is the blockchain that you should do this with. And
why?
So, because we are built for scale, I would say. We can handle and very small transaction costs, very light carbon footprint, tremendous throughput, and very fast final settlement. So 4.5-second final settlement. All of these things are very important. The bigger the organization you are, the more stake can't go wrong, the more you're going to care very much that your blockchain never goes down, that your transaction fees are low, that you don't have a large carbon footprint. We can talk about all of that. But he approached Silvio and said, look, here's this opportunity. And then of course, it's natural that you start exploring marketing and other kinds of opportunities in the back of that.
So as you can see, it's clearly a really important partnership. And it was great to see that, look, these things are starting to come into fruition. And not only that, but they were recommended by the consultants. That shows that Algorand does have a lot of power in the community, and people respect them. That's probably the right word. They respect them as a very stable, good blockchain, which is one of the reasons that I've always been positive about them, right? I dollar cost averaged into them many, over the last few years. Obviously, during this down period, it's been a struggle. I made a video very transparently about the things I need Algorand to start doing. Otherwise, I'm going to have to start switching off from this as a layer 1 blockchain in my portfolio. And I'm still going to give them that little bit more time. I am seeing progress, right? If you go watch that video, you'll see that since making that video, I have seen progress, right? Like things like the NFTs, things like changing their BizDev global head, things like the FIFA partnership, things like now trying to build EVM compatibility in the layer 1 blockchain. I think these are good bits. These are progress. The fact that I can see Stacey Warden doing interviews like that is really good. By the way, comment below if you want me to react to that full 40-minute interview, and I can do like a reaction of that so we can watch it together. These things are good, but I still want to see more progress. It's not enough. The layer 1 space is so competitive, and for each dollar I hold in Algorand, it's a dollar which I can't put into another promising layer 1 or layer 2 solution. So this is survival of the fittest. It's a great platform, and that's why it's so frustrating technically. And again, I would link up another video where I just talk. I remember it was when I was in Dubai, I was just talking to the fundamentals of Algorand, and just from when you zoom out, why is it such a good blockchain? And it's clear that it's just so powerful, and I just hope they can achieve their potential. Looking here into the charts, down 89%, and now if we adjust our Fibonacci ratios to our new low, and you look at this, even if you just want to get back to your Fibonacci ratio or retracement back to the 0.618 mark, gets you to $1.68 to $1.75, and that's where Algorand's going to want to target its retracement back up here as it climbs back towards all-time highs. I think that's a fairly good risk to reward, but will I be allocating a huge amount of my portfolio to Algorand? Not at this stage. They've got a lot more to prove. I've got my position. I'm not actively adding into it now, but I'm also not actively selling it either. I will let you guys know if that changes, if it deteriorates, or if it gets better and I see good progress. Then I'll feel more confident to add to my bags. But at this stage, I've got enough. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to panic sell it or anything like that. I'm going to hold it. I still think it's a very good layer 1 blockchain. And I just want to see them move from strength to strength over the rest of this bear market. Remember, guys, bear markets are here for building. And we need to keep an eye on our portfolio to make sure the projects that we are invested in are making progress. Just because we're in a bear market and price is down, every 3 months, 4 months, we should be seeing updates from our favorite projects to show they're making progress. They're improving on their weaknesses. They're doing things better. They're growing. They're maturing. More dApps, better use cases, right? Better team being built. We want to see that happen. And it's important that you build that conviction from a fundamental perspective as well, because that's ultimately what makes it easier for you to hold a project, buy the dip, and go through the tough times with it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. Check out NordVPN. Links in the description. Seriously, guys, if you're not set up on a VPN, you're making a huge mistake. I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer. And on top of that, if you want to watch football or any sports or watch Netflix from a different country, like play games, all of that stuff, like I use a VPN every single day. But for crypto, you definitely need to be masking your IP address every time you're logging into your exchanges, just as a basic security layer. It's like literally not closing the front door on your house. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Go watch this video here, and I'll see you in the next one.